these two things. You breathe in, here, you make it wider here, and it's like you're a balloon filled with air. Don't do it in a very harsh manner. So do it a little, for it to be comfortable. Up. And then, with it, such a sound. You are making a hole with a drill, like. Where is the drill? You should have a drill in your hand, because all your body actually should be in this process. And with this feeling, with this being filled with the air like a balloon, you know? Come on, come on, come on. Where is the drill? Hold the drill in your hand. You should be involved in this process. You should be like an actor. Okay, great, just a few words. Actually, training your voice is like acting. Because each exercise should be connected with some image, should be connected with some task. If you go somewhere to train your voice and they make you just produce sounds like o, a, p, p, pa, po, pu, pi, this is stupid. And this doesn't work. I tell you as a person who practices this for 10 years. This is stupid. Because this is not connected with your emotion. So you should be emotionally involved. Your conscious should be doing something, should be like, you know, be involved in some task. Like you are a worker, you need to make a hole with a drill. Your salary actually depends on that. That's important. And you make... And your sound should be really low. It should be lower than your speech, really. Try for it once again. Come on, come on. Make a good sound, make a good sound. Resonation. And your second hand can be on your belly also. Put your second hand on the belly. Make your sound there. Who has some effect? Who has the resonation in your head and in your chest? Can you raise your hand? Who doesn't? You should relax your throat better. And you should really make this form. First inhale. Then you make this. Listen attentively. You make this cavity here a little bit upper than your throat, like second chin. Oh. In a calm way, not in a very harsh way. And relax. And be concentrated on the task actually. Okay. I have very little time, yes? So I will just show you the continuation. Then you add the vowels. We'll not do this, but I'll just show you. You first inhale. And you train all the 6 vowels for Russian, Ukrainian, and also English. English language has other sounds, but these are the main. And you can train the same, like the same method, the same mechanism on the vowels. This is important, and this this exercise actually helps you to speak louder, to be heard. Because if you speak even with the same volume, even if you don't speak louder, but you have the resonance in your body, your voice will be heard even if somebody is chatting in the room, even if there is some noise, and your voice will also sound in a more comfortable way, in a more like respectable, I would say, way. You're like you're a real person. Yeah. This is important. If you want me to show you with the vowels, you can come up to me after the meeting and I will show you. If you didn't succeed, I will also show you. So you will be fine. And just one thing in the end of my master class. If you want to be really heard, if you want to be a much better public speaker, when you speak on the stage, when you communicate with people, sometimes focus on how you speak. Because scientists say that how you speak, the manner of your speech is 5 or 6 times more important than the contents of your speech. That's why sometimes focus on how you speak, your diction, your voice, and mainly the thing that we practice today. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thoughts go through your head. Is the arrival of this baby going to affect the intimacy between me and my wife? You find out it's the wrong question. And the question is, how much will you affect the intimacy between the mother and the baby? During the pregnancy, you're very solicitous. You listen to the stories about morning sickness. You fetch things, and you're kind and very, very helpful. Once the baby arrives, things change. You become superfluous to this relationship. You become kind of like an awkward inconvenience, like a bikini wax or a flight on Wizz Air. You know, it's uncomfortable, but you put up with it because it gets you there. She may find that you're useful for cleaning the house, washing the dishes, changing the baby. Not right, but good enough. And that's the way it is. You have a new role in life. The baby is now in charge. You thought you owned the house just because you picked it out, paid for it. No, the baby owns the house. And you learn this by degrees. Some sunny afternoon, you go out to mow the lawn. Shh! Don't wake the baby. Baby? There's a baby sleeping over in the corner of the lawn. Okay. You go back in the house. Go to the blender, perhaps to make yourself a frozen daiquiri. Don't turn the blender on, you'll wake the baby. This is pervasive. Later in the day, perhaps you go up to your bedroom to change clothes. So you slip in quietly, you see your wife and her mother sitting there in quiet conversation, and the baby sleeping in the corner. So you walk over to your closet to get some clothes, and 2 sets of eyes turn on you like you were a rogue elephant rampaging through the African savannah, uprooting trees, and say, "Don't wake the baby." Now, you could protest that you're making more noise telling me to shut up than I'm possibly making during the class. You'll find out that there's a double standard at work here, and you're never going to beat it. Now, just last week, I was out drinking beer with some friends. I came in the evening, and went upstairs, the way one will after drinking beer, to go through the bedroom to the toilet. Don't wake the baby! What? Don't wake the baby. Go back downstairs, wait a little bit, and after half an hour or so, you hear the toilet flush. Upstairs, here I go. Don't wake the baby! But you, did I mention there's a double standard? Okay. You hear a pitter-patter, 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 pitter-patter on the window. It's raining. Pitter-patter, 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 pitter-patter. Oh, it starts to really rain. Sloosh, all that water going down the downspout, all that water. Oh, that water. So you say, well, gee, maybe the thunder woke the baby up. Go away, you wake the baby. You hear a noise out on the street. What could that noise be? Sirens. They're coming closer. You open the window. Look outside. My gosh, the neighbor's house is on fire. The firemen come. Pour water all over. All that water. All that water on the fire. Oh, all that water. And pretty soon the fire is out. Say, well, that must have woken the baby. Shh. Go. You go downstairs and there's a knock, knock, knock on the door. You open the door. There's a policeman. Sir, we suspect there was arson. Did you see anything suspicious? Shh. Don't wake the baby. Talk on the porch. No, I didn't see a thing. I was busy. You go back inside. And you hear the most welcome sound you could ever imagine. A baby crying. Hey, here we go. Upstairs. The baby's awake. Oh, yes, dear. She slept 40 minutes longer than usual. Isn't that wonderful? Well, now I can go to... Oh, not so fast. I need to change the baby. So, you discover, then, that your suspicions were well-founded, that your intimacy will be interrupted in more intimate moments than you can imagine.
Yuri Karabach, please welcome.
How did I meet
Your best friend.
best friend? Oh, that's easy. Polina is my best friend. we met on Halloween at some English Mafia Club event, so that's an easy question. But actually, probably I'm not very standard person because I don't have this kind of friends you meet regularly with. I have different friends, but that's some kind of weak tie. So I mean, I don't have these friends I have a lot of communication with. So I have a friend in my native town, and this guy we grew together in one yard. We had like common place to play. So this guy. But I see him probably once in half a year, so that's a usual situation. But he respects me because sometime when I was a student, he's 2 years younger, so I just found him in the autumn line. It was late evening, about probably 12 or 1 a.m. or something like that, and I found him totally drunk, just lying on the ground. So I took him up and went to some water, so made him drink water and make him wash his face. So, and he still remembers it. So that's how you make very good friends. You just help them, and they're drunk lying on the ground. So that's a very good way. But not very many people offer you these chances to make friends in such a way. And I have a lot of other friends, like probably not very close friends, but people I'm very glad to see and I meet from time to time, and people I really respect, and I understand that they are somehow interesting for me, and probably I'm also interesting for them. So this is very good to have probably not many close friends, but many interesting friends. Not very close, but very interesting.
Gentleman in the corner, please welcome.
No.
Tradition to shake hands. What is your name?
My name is Igor. I'm 29. I'm 19. I'm not so confident in speaking English, so don't judge me so hard, okay?
You don't judge.
Any rules that I should like?
From 1 minute to 2 minutes.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And can you please repeat the question?
Yeah, of course. What period of life brought you the biggest number of friends? I mean, kindergarten,
yeah.
school, university, work.
The really huge amount of my friends from my school. So they are my classmates and they are my classmates and the other peoples of the school. I had really a good period of time while I was learning in university. But that period of time was like, for me it was more connected with the music, and that's why I lost a lot of friends from university. But now I can really count like more than 10 really friends from my school, and yeah, other things.
It's just green.
Okay, it's just green. Okay. I hope it was red. Because I have no thoughts to say. One of my best friends is my classmate. We work together now, and we really have good relationships between us. What can I say more about friends? Just recently I learned a word, acquaintance. Yes, it's not like friend, it's like mate. So I think it's really kind of interesting kind of stuff to share with you. Okay. Thank you very much.
On distance. Please welcome, the stage is yours.
It depends on what kind of distance we're talking about. If it's, let's say, 1 meter, I'm all for it. If it's 1 kilometer, then the question is how? If it's 1,000 kilometers, the question is still how? Because even though we can talk with people over Facebook, text, Telegram, all these kind of things, I noticed that you cannot communicate really complex and rich ideas via text. For instance, yesterday I came home, opened Telegram, and there is a message from my friend. And she asks me, Vasya, how's it going? And I answer, well, fine, I started a new job and doing this and that. And then she says, cool. And I say, and how about you? And she says, oh, it's horrible. Nothing can, put me even lower than I am now. And we started talking. I wanted to help her out because we had a conversation before that, and from what I understood, she's going through something that I experienced, right? Some really low lows, and she used the same words that I had used before that, so I knew that I'm dealing with something that I've experienced. So I was very glad to help her. But then every time I ask her a question, she says, oh, it's useless, it's hopeless, nothing will ever help me. And I ask her, so what is it? Okay, what is it that you want? She says, I want nothing, nothing. And I say, what is that you don't want? And she says, oh, I don't want this, I don't want that, I want... And over and over and over, and 1 hour later, I realized that the conversation is going nowhere. So I think, okay, how am I going to get out of it? And I try this way, and that way, and that way, and she always keeps bringing up some other issues. And I realized that no matter how much time you spend on the Telegram, it's really difficult to have a meaningful conversation. So that's why I think that even though you can maintain relationships with people in distance, they will be your acquaintances, but not friends. So guys, make friends for real.
I'm Ed, after whom Ed is named, that I haven't seen for 12 years, but Ed and I get on the phone every now and again. But the question I really wanted to answer was a question you asked earlier. How did you meet him? Because I met Edward twice. The first time, I had just joined the Army in 1964, and they made me go on summer camp, even though I hadn't been trained how to be a soldier. I had nothing to do, so I'm lying down underneath a 2.5-ton truck, sleeping, because there's nothing for me to do. I don't know anybody. There's nothing going on. And a voice comes up and says, what are you doing down there? And I thought, this is not the voice of authority. This is a voice of curiosity. So I got up and I got to know this curious voice, and it turned out to be my friend Edward. Now, Edward went through quite a few changes. He was proper banker married to a debutante when I met him, and by the time I left for Vietnam 2 years later, he was smoking pot and working as a taxi driver. I lost sight of him when I was in Vietnam. He was my good friend, but I couldn't find him when I returned from Vietnam in 1972. Now, I looked all over. I looked in all the phone books and so on. I could not find him. In 1998, which is 30 years later, I was down in Nicaragua on a project building houses with Habitat for Humanity, and the woman who ran the project was married to a policeman who found missing people. I said, here's a missing person. His name is Edward Inskeep Cunningham Kinney. You won't find too many of those. And his good friend is Braxton Joseph Jeffrey Holly. You won't find many of those. So this guy located them, and the next thing I knew, I got a phone call in the middle of the night. You son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! You found me! And thus ensued a 1-hour conversation, and we enjoy each other's company, and we talk frequently on Skype, although I haven't seen him for a long, long time. Thank you.
And internet and social networking and Skype and Telegram and so on and so on. So of course, you can chat and you can communicate with anybody in the world. So many of us, I'm sure, has friends in different countries. So am I. And I just wanted to tell you the story that, from personal experience, no matter that there are some thousands of kilometers between you and your friend, nevertheless, they're always there to help you. So once I had the situation when me and my boyfriend, we came to Lithuania to visit the country, just to see it, and to visit my friend, which was living in a different city. So we came to Vilnius, we took some tour, then we went to another city, and then we saw on the internet that there's a bus coming to this third city, to Kaunas, where he was living. So we came to the bus station, we knocked the door because it was closed, and we asked, so we see that you have a bus in 10 minutes, I didn't see a bus, can we buy a ticket? Oh, you know, there are no bus anymore between those cities. And we were puzzled. How come? You have this on your internet website in the bus station. Well, you see, it was closed like years ago, so is there any bus coming? No. Is there any taxi we can get? No. So we were in a situation where we didn't have anywhere to go or to call, so we called our friend Lucas, and I said, okay, Lucas, so here's the thing, we want to see you, but unfortunately we couldn't because there is no bus, apparently. And he said, no problem, I'm here, I will pick you up. So there were 70 kilometers between his city and this city, and he made this 140 kilometers just to pick us up and to help us. And I'm sure that everybody has such a friends, no matter that you don't speak to them often, not even every day, every month, every year, but you have always somebody in different country that can help you in such a good situation. And at the end, I want to say that you should be a very good person and good attitude, to have a good attitude to your friends, because you know they say everybody in a group of friends has a badass. If you don't, then you are a badass.
Inessa, please welcome.
That is a really hard question for me. You know, once I had a friend, and he managed to break his relationship twice till that moment I met him, and I was always surprised when his ex-girlfriend called him, and he managed to communicate with his ex-girlfriends, and it looked like a friendship, and I was surprised whether it is possible to build
a good relationship after people split and do not have nothing in common anymore. But it seems that there are two types of people. Some people manage to do it, and other people like split like enemies and do not communicate or keep distance. What the question is, what makes people to use one or the second strategy? I believe that is the way of thinking. The one way is when you believe that you accept the situation and you wish to your friend some happiness, you support your friend, and you remain friends. And the other thing, you start to think that another person is guilty in the situation that happened, and it's some kind of a difficult situation. So it seems to me that it's up to us to choose what kind of relationship to build with other people, whether we like to become stronger and even more powerful, making up relationship with different people, or we'd like to find we'd like to look for some reasons to justify the situation that happened, and in such a way to become weaker and more even miserable as we were before. Thank you.
Okay, my question is, do you have friends during more than 20 years? Well, any volunteers? Mike?
Yes, well, thank you very much. Toastmasters. Yes, the great advantage of getting old is that 20 years just seems like the day. The disadvantage is that actually it should be very easy for me to talk about, because most of my friends actually are dead. so whittle it down. But if I can, just I've been inspired to say, I know I wasn't here last week, and I'm sure everyone was pining where the heck was I. But I was in Italy having a great time. And I went with, I must be careful talking with a youngish lady who some of you have met, so I'm not going to try, well, inevitably I'm talking about her behind my back, but somebody said to me, she's all right, but she's a bit sexless, and I think that was perhaps a deserved observation, but in fact she's extremely useful as a friend. This turned out, last week we went together to Naples and we had a great time, saw lots of interesting things. Unfortunately, coming back, we flew from, I got the green, we flew from Naples to Rome. Didn't expect to see too much of Rome. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. And then we got to Giuliano, which I found is actually a rather charming little airport, and you get through customs and everything very soon. But we got through customs and everything all right, but no luggage. Now, as a matter of economy, we just had one big case between us, which we checked in. So there was poor Miss X dealing with the customs, and of course, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, even in Giuliano, you don't find people who are too good at the one language I speak fairly well, which is English. So there was dear Miss X, poor thing, you know, knowing that she'd lost all her intimate things, but so had I. We had decided that because we'd take one big case between us, and she would carry most of my stuff in it. This should have worked out very well, for all I can say. What a good friend she proved, because she was taking all the flack. She did have to go to work the following day. There she was, we were there for an additional over an hour. She was filling out forms and doing it all for me. At the end of that, she found me a taxi, make sure I got home. That was a really good friend between people who are not of different sexes, but very different ages and perhaps different sort of sexualities. Thank you for the very kind.
my mother has. My mother has a closest friend. She met about 60 years ago. She entered the pedagogical school and met her friend, girlfriend there. They were 16 years or about it, and from that time they are friends and they communicate every day. Every day in the morning they call each other and have a chat for about 30 minutes. And I cannot imagine what they can discuss during these conversations, and they share the recipes, they discuss what they cooked and whatever. And once I overheard the conversation when I was at my mother's place, overheard the conversation. They organized a meeting between them, and my mother said, tomorrow Irina will come to Kiev and I will come to you with a beer. And I really adore this friendship, this long-term friendship between people, and I think that perhaps I will have such kind of friends that I want to speak, to communicate with him or her every day, and we never got bored about each other. Thank you.
It's a very interesting topic. Having had 2 or 3 volunteers for the same question is a good indication that the topic has picked up really very well done. Thank you very much. You explained all the question, all the rules, that there will be voting. You might indicate that there will be a small prize so that the people would be really earning to go on the stage and take this prize afterwards. That's good. A little bit 2 suggestions. First of all, your beginning of this table topic session, you told about one friend from Dnipro, one from another. You could have done this story more entertaining, you know, because I have one friend there and one friend here. Okay, every one of us does. Maybe some small stories that could, you know, draw some attention to the audience, or some mystery, what's going on over there, just at the for the beginning. Then the next thing, you better sit over there, because you were sitting on this chair, and almost all participants, even very experienced ones, were looking at you almost all the time. And you were of course it was good looking at you because you were all, you know, the answers were good, and you were sitting practically on the stage, and you were like, wow, what are you telling? And of course people would like to look at those kind of people, you know, who appreciate it. So next time, just in the audience, so that people could move around and look in everywhere. Thank you very much. Okay, Yura, the burden of the well-known Toastmasters is following you everywhere in table topic sessions. So the question was about how did you meet your best friend. Okay, good. Yura knows when he starts the story, then he knows, oh, I know the better story, I better switch into that one. So this is the case you could use too. So that was good. The savor of the drunken man. That was also a good story. What I'd like you to maybe to improve, make a pause at the beginning, as Timur told us today. So because you rushed in, and maybe because of that, you started with one story, and then you need to switch into another. And the story about Polina, your spouse, as a best friend, you met at Halloween. Tell this story and proceed with this. Try next time, you know, maybe not to change the stories, but to proceed with the one you've picked up. It would be better. More eye contact on the table, master, but it was done mostly by many people. Okay, then it was our guest Igor. Igor, the aim here is to have fun, so it's not a case of Mondays. It's just to feel good on the stage, no matter whether you are new to here or you don't know a question or you know a question. So forget about it, and you did very well. First of all, you did for the whole 2 minutes. You know, we have guests who say, okay, 30 seconds and I'm done. So no, you patiently waited for this red signal. That was very good for you. Good story. More about this music case, because because I was looking to hear the end of the story. It was very interesting. You know, do not judge me. Next time, you just get this speech and then see whether people judge you. That would be the answer to your question. You know, not the question first, but just go on with the story. No, you know, I do not know English or something else. Your English is good, so go on. Thank you very much. Then Vasil. Excellent. I really like it. I even do not have suggestions today for you. Because I like how you start. What is the distance? That is a very good also trick for, and we haven't used it very often. So because for different people, the meaning of the distance could be different. And so Vasil started to draw his attention to this. And it was very excellent done. So what is 1 meter, 1 kilometer, 1,000 kilometers? And you ended up this story of your conversation perfectly. So with a good conclusion. Thank you very much for it. And Olga, you volunteered, which was very good. Good conclusion, good story. I like it very much. What I would suggest you, maybe you have a good very conclusion. You often do not speak with people so often just because of the distance, but still they can help you. And then you switch to these badasses, and I can't understand them, frankly speaking. So you might have ended on this. It was the perfect ending. You know, you were talking about this man who would drive for 1,000 kilometers just to meet you. Just that was a perfect ending. So you might not go on. No, the moments were good. The scene was with your hair very often. Very often it should be here. No, I'm more beauty with my hand over something like this. It's all happened all the time with girls. We girls, especially with long hairs, you know, we start doing something with it. We watch also. Sometimes is this everything? So put everything off if it distracts you. That would be advice for you.
The hair?
No, the hair. A hair you could put also in the body. Graham, lying on the floor is, everyone loves it. Every time it is done, everyone loves something unexpected going on the stage, and Graham done beautifully with it. I love your conclusions, like voice of curiosity versus voice of authority. So how you shape the language, how you present it to us. Also, more looks at Toastmaster, but Toastmaster was very engaged into this story. Of course, you can't omit looking at her. This is one more my suggestion to you. Male and female for Inessa. And what I like about you bring up a good, psychological question. So why one people break up their relationship and stay friends, and other just forget that it's the other person. That was very good. And you explained the ways of thinking it. One more thing, use more space. You stay only in one place. Just no moves at all. And sometimes it was a look as if you were thinking very deep into yourself. And so the eyes were like, they're somewhere over there. And so you were thinking inside your head. So just more to people, and moving on the stage will help you with it. Mike. Of course, my friend, good humor, 20 years. For someone is a day, for someone is a long period of time, and most friends are dead. Very optimistic. Okay, the only thing that I would suggest you, you were talking a lot about good quality of your friends. But what about you? Tell us about your good qualities while on this trip. We would like to hear about them, because Mike told, she was a very useful friend. Of course, she was, Mike. She took all the care to the carriage and planes and arrivals. What you brought to this trip? That would be very interesting. Maybe telling some stories or some sense of humor, so that would be like to add up to this story. Irina, of course, if we do not have some, and it is also a good strategy to tell, and if we do not have our personal stories, every time we could tell a story of our friends or our relatives, and that was a perfect story for you to answer on this question. I love it. Over here in this conversation, this very touching moment, and what I would like to recommend you, of course, I'd like to hear the recipe of the long friendship. That would be excellent. And a little bit more crutch words at the beginning, so they were a little bit distracting. So, now to the winner of the table topic session. We have a tie. I've checked twice. It's Graham and Irina.
But we have two readers and
Semi-annual, yeah. I'm an expert too. think Igor? I am not so confident, she said, I am not so confident in speaking, which is fine. Also heard like, that's the other comment a couple times. Next one was Vasil? Sorry if I mispronounced your name. I welcome folks to come grade me tomorrow at the Russian club too. So if you don't like me so much, just come tomorrow. If I do speech, just hit me hard. I've been hit hard many times there. So, one you said, I think you said not 1,000, and I was sort of lost. I think you meant to say 1,000. The one reference in your remarks. It just seemed like it was cut off. And also I heard a couple of conjunctions as well. Don't as a conjunction. Do not instead of don't. Moving on, Olga was the next speaker. Caught a couple errors as well. This is a classic mistake speakers make, and I remember my father drilling me down a lot of things too. Sorry, I look at you when I think about my father, you know, drill me down. It's the same age, so. You mentioned me and my boyfriend. That's just a classic mistake. It should be my boyfriend and I. That's usually the proper way. It's just a classic way of saying it. Also, this is another classic mistake. Can we buy a ticket? It's very informal. May we buy a ticket? I know I corrected another Toastmasters member at a different club about the same mistake, and she speaks a lot of different places. She's a very good speaker, but it's a similar mistake I hear often. And again, something about he drove. He said he made 140 kilometers to pick us up. Probably meant to say he drove 140 kilometers to pick us up. That's what I assume he meant. Graham, going into the improvisational speech, if you pause 2 times that he was, that's just technical. I'm sure it's off the cuff, but I just wanted to make that remark. Otherwise, very good. Moving on to, I think, Inessa? Okay. Again, the use of like was used several times. Making up a relationship with other people, I think you probably should say creating relationships with other people instead of making up. I think that's what I caught. Moving on, the next person was Mike. She found me a taxi and made sure I got home. Just the only thing I caught. But it's off the cuff, so I know it's tough. Very good. I like you use the Mondays though too. Though. I like you use the Mondays in your singing though too. The next one was Irina. I think if I caught you correctly, they were about 16 years old. I don't know if I heard the entire remark. That was really 16 years old. But I didn't hear about. Something was not clear, at least in the entire sentence. Also, everything got. Bought something wasn't clear in speech. I didn't quite get what you were getting at, but otherwise it was pretty good. I mean, it was succinct and understood. Next one, just on the evaluators. I'm going to keep it short. Of course, the comment from Michael about Mondays again. I keep coming back to it. You know, the prize for Mondays. I'm not sure there's actually a real prize, but the fact is you get to live till Tuesday if you sing enough songs about Monday. You know? The last point was, I think Maria was also, one comment on Maria is an evaluator, a couple of grammatical points. You had said a little bit of 2 suggestions. I would say some small suggestions instead. And also the comment about the hair, coming back to the beauty comments, it's not more beauty, it's more beautiful instead, just to be succinct and correct. And I'll leave it at that, no more corrections right now. And I'm sure I have a lot of pauses if you actually would evaluate me on pauses. I'm a master of long pauses, but I appreciate having the ability to evaluate today, and hope everyone learned a little bit. And I don't feel like I have a case of the Mondays right now, but I encourage folks to watch the film Office Space. It is a really funny movie. It's basically an American cult classic that a lot of people like, male and female across the board. It's when Jennifer Aniston was a young woman. That's also